Hello, welcome to another episode of Brenda's Musings. So today I want to talk about what happens when you take your eye off the ball. So the thought came to me because a couple of days ago the pond was still, I wouldn't say frozen over, but it was still slushed over. And today I looked at the pond and it was suddenly clear. No ice, no snow, it was lovely. And it got me thinking about, where else in life do we notice something one way, and then we look at it again, it looks totally different to us. So, this could happen in, your business life, it could happen in your personal life, it could happen with friends, with family, and certainly can happen in situations, right? When we look at something and we think it's one way, and then we look at it again, and it seems to be another way. Very cryptic, I know. But it's true, right? Because so many things change. Even in the space of a few minutes, things can change because your mindset can change. And as soon as your mindset changes, you look at the world in a totally different light. I have a friend of mine who's saying that she's starting to feel a bit of anxiety. And I suggested to her that when she next notices when she's starting to feel anxious, that she purposely turns her thoughts to that of gratitude. And that in doing so, because your mind can only think one thought at a time, in doing so, the way that she thinks, the way that she views the world will change. And, it's not going to change forever, but it's going to change in that moment. And if you can nip something in the bud like anxiety, then, as you move forward, things will be less anxious. So, and that anxiety attack or those pangs of anxiety may not even fully formulate. But it's the same way when we look at situations. If you look at a situation in one light, and then you look at it in a different light, like, for example, let's think about our nights, okay? Our nights are dark. And when we lie down in bed, those are most often the times when we think dark thoughts. That's when we become most anxious sometimes, or that's when we become more stressed, or that's when we become, more sad. Like, there's often all those dark, heavy thoughts. That's also one of the times that people meditate most. That's also one of the times when people do their deep breathing the most. That's also one of the times, when people read a book or listen to music, so that their mind doesn't go down that rabbit hole. And then in the light of day, things don't seem to be as bad as they did the night before. So, that can change things. If you're working really hard at your desk and you're grappling with a problem and you can't figure it out and you're throwing up your hands in despair or throwing your computer across the room, then you decide to go for a walk. And when you come back, the answer is right there. Or the way that you tackle the problem is totally different and an answer comes to you, more readily. It all comes down to the way our mind works. And the only person who is in charge of your mind is you, right? So all of this to say is just think about, be conscious about your thoughts. And if they're taking you down a pathway that you don't want to go on, then step aside, step onto a new path and go where you want to go. Take the path that you want to take. And remember, that's not always the path of least resistance. Sometimes that resistance is exactly what we need in order to push forward at a much higher rate of speed. That's my musing for the day. Have a great one, everyone.